So Emerson Fittipaldi takes a ride with the Blue Angels, but we didn't just set him up casually there. I had to go take a ride in Blue Angel 7 with Rick Young first, just to make sure it was safe for Emerson Fittipaldi. Let's go to Checkaroo.
Well, Paul, Raul Boesel lost one position on that exchange of pit stops, and Dick Simon, there was a problem.
Well, yes, actually, we were trying to get out in front of Mario, and the guys made an exceptionally good pit stop, but the car would not go into gear. The clutch just didn't go in properly.
So many things you've got to remember, guys, when you come into the pits if you're a driver. It's not a respite for them. They've got to get it into neutral, try and keep the revs up, and then when they drop the jacks, get back out. A momentary miscue, it cost them one spot.
Could be very costly. Let's go down the pits and Gary Gerald.
No. Well, we thought there was apparently a misunderstanding. We don't have Paul Tracy. They're trying to find him. They parked the car in a safe spot over on the backstretch coming out of 3. Tracy has yet to be seen. That's what the scramble is down here. We have not seen him. So when we do, we'll talk to him, Paul.
Oh, we're still under yellow. We found Paul Tracy for you, Gary. If you can find a motor scooter, you might be able to catch him. He's on his way back to get out of a hot driver's suit and become a spectator.
He loves 2 wheels. He rides his mountain bike for fitness and his motorcycle for fun. This is his way of getting away a little bit from the crowd, including you, Gary, I'm afraid, right now.
If the race were to come to a conclusion right now, the points would be awarded in this way, with Nigel Mansell retaking the PPG points lead with 123 points. Emerson Fittipaldi, who was the points leader coming in today, suffering badly, and Fittipaldi's suffering continues because as Paul Tracy rides away for a change of clothes, Emerson Fittipaldi is back into the pits once again. So a long day, at least this time it is under the yellow, but Fittipaldi not really a factor in this race now. He runs in 16th position as he comes in for this stop.
Just remember, though, this is a long race with a lot of racing left to go, and Nigel Mansell has anything but wrapped it up. As we said earlier, a Ford engine has never won a 500-mile race like this, not the new configuration. So, and Mansell's physical condition, you talked to him the other day, Paul, his wrist is still a question mark. There's a lot of tough stuff ahead before he has won this race.
Let's get an update on Nigel Mansell now, Jack.
Well, Paul, this caution was exactly what Nigel Mansell needed. He radioed into his crew that he appreciates the rest. As Sam Bosey alluded to, he is still suffering from that sprained wrist, and the jostling back and forth in the car gives it quite a test, especially on a track this big and this fast. But he is also very concerned about the points. The most important thing he continues to talk about on the radio, outside of the handling of the car, is how many points are we gaining on Emerson Fittipaldi.
Well, let's remember, too, that Nigel Mansell has never driven a super speedway before, and the dynamics that act on the human body on a super speedway are different than some of the things that he's become accustomed to. When he climbed out of the car during practice after running an incredibly fast lap, jumping way up above 233 miles an hour, he came over to me and he said, boy, this thing is really tough to do.
Yeah, but you know, Paul, this man must be the fastest learner in the history of motorsport. Absolutely. When he came over here this year, there were all these things he hadn't done, and now he's done just about all of them. I mean, he almost won Indy. He won the mile race at Milwaukee, only the first mile that he ever actually started. The man is phenomenal.
And the driver that you're watching so closely, Raul Boesel, he runs in 3rd. Mentioned him at the top of the show. Boesel, consistent, still looking for his first win. Well, we were finally able to track down Paul Tracy, weren't we?
Indeed we were. Paul, we know it was a motor that put you out of the competition, and of course after your great success a year ago and the success of the last 2 races, tell us about conditions out here now, and how tough is it over the bumps today?
Well, I think the conditions were real good. We got put back by a yellow. We got stuck behind the pace car, so that put us a lap down, and we're just working our way back up. And you know, the track was good, the car was running good, and we were just pacing ourselves, and got in the draft with all those guys, and the motor just let go for some reason. We don't know why.
Well, I know it's a jolt to the championship hopes. We'll see you next week in Loudon.
Oh, that's for sure.
Thank you, Paul. Let's go back up. Paul.
We're coming back to the green flag now. Raul Boesel making a move on Mario Andretti. A battle for second place as they come back to the green flag. Raul using what traffic he can. He looks the angle back from Al Unser Jr.'s car, giving us good coverage there. But now Raul is able to drop in behind Al Unser Jr., and Mario is able to pull ahead as he drops in behind Olivier Briard.
Now on the restarts, these guys will turn the boost up to the max, plus put it in the low gear. Because traffic is one thing that makes it the most danger around here. The sooner they can get away from the other cars, the safer and the better for them.
Boisel back in contact now with Mario Andretti as the battle for second place heads down into the trioval and across the stripe. Nigel Mansell is unchallenged. He continues a full lap in the lead.
Boisel, known as a consistent performer in previous years, but this year he has really come to the front, unhesitatingly racing the big superstar names in this sport.
All right, let's watch and listen as Raul Boisel tries to chase down Mario Andretti. Scott Goodyear just up to the right. He moved past Boisel. Boisel back past him. Now he's back just ahead of Boisel. We'll watch.
Running, the guys at the most, as we saw little Al's car a while, go back off about a quarter of a throttle in the turn. But like most of them are, but not Nigel Mansell.
So Raul Boisel working as hard as he can to try to get back up into combative position with the top of the field. You look out the back of Scott Goodyear's car. Bobby Rahal, by the way, that was not a black flag violation that brought him into the pits as we reported earlier. He came in of his own accord because he knew what was going on, but unfortunately because he left the pits with the vent hose attached, it did require a stop-and-go penalty once they came back to green, which has been assessed. Also penalties being assessed on Willie T. Ribbs and on Marco Greco for getting a little wide as they exited the pit area as well.
The rules are when you leave the pit area, there's a yellow line down in the turn. If you get above that yellow line, Wally Dolleback can put a penalty on you. And some of the guys do. Remember, they've been running well over 200 miles an hour. Sometimes that pit lane gets a little too narrow when you have to do it like at about 100, 125 miles an hour.
Here's Boisel using a draft from Rahal to make a move. This is looking back from Rahal at Scott Goodyear. Now Goodyear drafting Rahal past.
Rahal runs in 9th place. Scott Goodyear is running in 7th, while Boisel is in 3rd place trying to catch up to Mario Andretti. This is slowing him down a bit.
Rahal is another driver who is seeing his championship hopes slide slowly away from him today. He started the day in 6th in bad need of scoring big points. It doesn't look like that's going to happen.
The nose of Rahal's car.
Camera angle, Bobby, I know, agrees with me. We've shared so many exciting moments this season looking out over the nose of Rahal's car. This is by far the closest approximation of any of our onboard cameras. You see little Al squeeze by him here that we have ever had. This is the feeling of being in the car.
But ironically, Sam, it still doesn't show how steep the banking really is here. A person almost has to stand down the racetrack to appreciate how steep the banks are here at Michigan and what the drivers go through. But this camera certainly gets the closest to it I've ever seen.
Are you in agreement with that, Sam? So you guys are now in total agreement on something. This is great. Here comes Scott Brayton as he comes up to overhaul Bobby Rahal. It is a fight for 9th place, and Scott Brayton has him. Brayton gets past Rahal.
I think the law of averages caught up with Bobby, and he was right.
Sooner or later it had to happen, no doubt about it. Average speed of the race with 2 yellow flags now at 178.848 miles an hour. Race record 189.727. Al Unser Jr. holds that record, fastest ever. Nigel Mansell is charging for it, though. If he can have a clear race to the finish, he might be able to move back toward the record. We'll be back.